Alright, so it's now 10:02. So, we're just doing our morning stretches now that we're up and moving. Just gonna move around a little bit. There we go. Nothing like twirling around to get warmed up. Alright, so welcome to this live stream. As far as I can see, I'm saying welcome to nobody except for those viewing in the future, so welcome to you. If you are in the live stream, if you're watching, please leave a comment in the chat so that I can kind of get an idea of who all and how many people are watching. So, and if you have any ideas or thoughts during the live stream, feel free to leave a chat. If you're watching this in the future, feel free to leave a comment, and we can talk more after the stream is over. So, for anyone who just joined, please leave a comment or a chat so that we can, so I know kind of how many people we got. So, today we're exploring Super Mario Odyssey and all the little Japanese stuff they threw in. So, first, this is hardly a fitting costume, so we're just going to jump on top of the dresser. We're going to open the dresser and change into something more fitting for the theme. So, what's more fitting than a nice Japanese headband? And where are you? Right here. So, the first thing I would like to kind of talk about is this outfit right here. You can see you've got the rope headband, you've got the red belt going around there, and these sandals as well. So this outfit is pretty common to be worn during festivals and stuff. And so you'll see something like this in many festivals. I saw one recently where they were holding up a shrine and celebrating, I believe, the coming of fall or something. But one thing that's interesting to point out is the kanji on the outfit. You can see on the black part of his shirt there, you've got, I can't see what's in the circle part, but the three kanji there are just Nintendo. So, yeah, so that says Nintendo. On the back, you have another kanji, which is fuku, and this isn't the fuku that means clothes, this is the fuku that means good luck or fortune. So that's a common kanji to be seen during festivals and other such things because they really like good luck, especially when you go to temples and shrines for like New Year's and stuff. It's all about the good luck, wishing good luck for your new year and whatnot. Then naturally you have the samurai outfit, which you don't see too often in Japan unless you go to a castle or museum where people dress up as samurais or ninjas to kind of give you a nice Japanese feel as you're there. So, there's not too much I can point out here other than it's samurai armor. So, we're just going to go with this as if we're celebrating a festival. So we've got the Nintendo festival clothes. Alright, so now that we're all dressed up and ready to go, let's head on outside. And as you can probably guess, we are going to be in Bowser's Fortress, because it is naturally the most Japanese-themed world in this game. So the first thing I want to point out is how similar this bridge and these handrails are to many of the ones I see in Japan. So here, naturally, you have Bowser's face everywhere because he loves his face. But sometimes these are just balls or orbs. Other times they have other things. But typically, I haven't seen many metal handrails or bridges. Usually, they're made out of like wood and stuff, and there's often red bridges instead of metal, so these handrails would be red. These flags, I'm not going to point anything out about that yet. Okay, so here we have a gate, obviously, right? So you can tell it's Japanese themed by quite a few things. So this wall, the white wall, is very similar to what you see in castles around Japan, as well as just people's houses. Sometimes they have a wall going around their house, and they look very similar to this. And then you see the wave-style roofs right up there. And so that is very common in Japan. And on the ends of these, you see little Bowser seals. And so I don't know if seal is the right word, but sometimes they have those, sometimes they don't. And then the gate door, usually they haven't been metal from the ones I've seen. But since this is a fortress, it's like turning the Japanese style into like this hardcore, impenetrable fortress kind of feel to it. So naturally going with some hard, dark metal would be great for that. Alright, let's go beat up some Goombas. So, now that they think we're one of them, but not really because they still attack us, these hats, I believe if I was correct in my research, these are like Ronin hats. So they're not... A Ronin is like a samurai with no leader. And so they're just kind of roaming around as Ronin. So, let's just hop on top of one of them. I will be your leader, Roman Goombas. And then I'll leave you. And another fun fact about Japan, they have electricity! But that's pretty normal, right? Okay, so let's move on. These guys have some cone-shaped hats, except I destroyed them before I could really say much about it. These are just spiny things, nothing Japanese there. They're not going to respond, but we're very quickly, so we'll just skip by and we'll meet them again. So, there's not much to say about that place, but one thing I'd like to point out over here, maybe this is a good place to point it out, is these walls down here. You see they've kind of got this curve, so they look pretty straight up right there, and then as you go down, they kind of curve out. And so when you go to temples, especially temples in, like, I believe Osaka is a really good example of this. The castle is up high, and they have a moat surrounding it, and the area that the plateau that the castle is on is shaped just like this. So it's rather narrow at the top, and then it kind of gets bigger and bigger as you go down. But not like crazy big, it's just kind of a slight increase in size as you go down, just like you see here. Except these ones are metal because fortress stuff. Okay, so now moving on, this guy is fun. So naturally, Mario game, he tries to crush you, but take a look at his shoes right there. These are wooden shoes called geta. So they're kind of sandal-y, as you can see. You can see his feet sticking out there, and they're very much sandals. And then at the bottom, you see how there are two little blocks that he's walking on. So these shoes are used in the Gujo Dance Festival in my city, and so everyone has to wear those. I find them rather uncomfortable, but you know, you can only get so much comfort out of complete wooden shoes. But maybe some people find them more comfortable. But they are traditionally used in these kinds of things. And then the face of this guy is just like what you see with a lot of the demon-looking things around Japan. So when you go into shrines and temples, you'll have these large demons or demon slayer guys. I forget what they were called, but when you see depictions of these demons or ogres, or there are many translations for the word oni that they use, including demon, ogre, and stuff. But this is very much what the faces look like. So I found that very interesting. Alright, so we move on through another gate, naturally with Bowser's face plastered everywhere. Anything else around here? You got the roofs again, the white walls, and let's move on. Alright, so you can kind of see these clouds everywhere and how they're many different colors. You got some green clouds, some red clouds over there, and some blue clouds and everything. And naturally, these aren't the natural colors of clouds anywhere in the world, but they kind of give you a kind of Japanese artist kind of feel where they use many different colors to portray different things. And so my city, I've seen hats kind of like these cone hats, but less metallic and whatnot, used by fishermen. And they're really good for keeping the sun off of your head, which is nice for many reasons, including not getting sunburned and whatnot. But you see cone hats not necessarily as a normal part of everyday life, but you do see them on occasion when specialized activities are appropriate. Alright, so here we have kind of a different style of house. As you can, I kind of pointed this out in the Legend of Zelda live stream I did last month, but you've got the rice stalk roofs right here. Let's grab some of these coins. There we go. Yeah, so you've got this hay-looking stuff, but I believe they are rice stalks, and then at the top you have this little thing. And so this is kind of what you see in a lot of places around Japan as well. Then Peach over here is wearing a kimono, as you can see, with fire flower designs. Kimonos come in many different designs, and she has a Boo mask on her head right there. And so masks are a big part of their theater, like Noh theater, and they also have for festivals and whatnot. And then in the back you see the uchiwa, which is her fan. And that isn't one of the fans that fold up, but that and the fold-up fans are very common in Japan as well. Alright, so next we have this bench with the little cushions, and in a lot of places, like in people's houses, even in my house for a while, I didn't use my chairs or anything because I found them uncomfortable. But you see these cushions here, and those are used all over the place in Japan as well. Maybe not in like public areas like banks and school and whatnot quite as much because they use chairs, but in people's homes you'll see these cushions everywhere. And along with that, they'll possibly have a kotatsu, where you stick your legs under it in the winter, and there's a blanket. It's basically a table with a heater underneath it, and then a blanket so that it keeps all the warm inside. And some people really like putting their legs in there and just chilling, watching TV, eating food, and whatnot. So that's some people's favorite. One of some people's favorites in Japan. And then these umbrellas are in a classic parasol fashion, which you will see. They are a part of like a traditional fancy wardrobe for the women to have a parasol with. Nope, Peach is not carrying a parasol, so she should pick one up. Okay. Oh yeah, here's another thing. These, as you can see, the design here in the rocks, this is a very common rock garden that you'll see in some temples, which are pretty beautiful when you see them up close, because they rake them in a way that they've got really cool designs. This doesn't really show it, but you can see they're kind of wavy straight lines. But then when you have rocks, like the big rocks in these gardens, they'll usually rake around them, so you've got kind of like a perimeter going around like this, and it looks really neat. But rock gardens are one of those simple beauty things that you'll see a lot in Japan. And then you have some stone statues here. We got a nice, oh, we had a nice close-up there for a second. There we go. So you have some close-ups, and you can see the ears are kind of long, and that's a similar shape as you see in the big Buddha statues that you see around Japan in various temples. And then they've got the hats as well that we saw earlier on the Goombas. Okay, so, is this the right way? Oh, this is a good place where we can see what a castle is like in Japan. So you see, you've got the big structure on top, and then you see the plateau area that the castle is sitting on top of kind of get bigger as it goes down. So we have a nice view of that now. And then you see the pink clouds, and as you may know, in Japan, sakura season is very big. People love seeing the sakura or cherry blossom trees bloom in the spring. And so you kind of get a nice feel of that here, even though those are clouds, not trees, but some of the trees can get very, very pink, just like those. So let's move on up here. Alright, so here we have more flags. So let's jump over here, and you'll see two symbols. You'll see the Bowser face and another kanji, except this kanji is backwards, so we'll look over here. So now we get a good look at the kanji, and this is the kanji that means longevity, congratulations, or one's natural life. So it's used in words like, I believe, jumyo, which is like lifespan. And then it's also used in the word sushi. It's the su of sushi. So they've got this plastered all over this fortress in a nice Japanese manner. And then here we have another bridge with the golden Bowser heads. And so sometimes these bridges in Japan also have fancier, I don't know what these things are called in English or Japanese, but these things along the bridge. Okay, here is an example of some of those fold-up fans at the top of the lantern. You have a fold-up fan, and that's being used as a decoration, but people often carry them. Well, maybe not often, but they're a part of Japanese culture as well. Alright, so here we see the longevity kanji again. Then let's move forward, and another gate will pass through. Here we see another rock garden, a very nice picturesque scene as we're getting attacked by little birds. And then over here, get out of here, Spiny Doo. Okay, so over here we have a little pond, and inside that pond we have some koi fish, which you will see everywhere in Japan. I believe if you watch a previous video I made like a year and several months ago, I made a video of winter in Gujo when it snowed a lot, and we walked along this path that had all these huge fish, and they were koi fish. And so as you can see, they come in various different colors. We have a white koi, we have red and white. There are even gold koi fish. So they come in many different colors. There are also black koi fish, and just many different colors, and they are very big, very cool. Alright, let's steal this soul. Jump over here. Hook. Kill some Spinides. Jump over here. Not much to say about this part, so we'll just get hit by a bomb and continue on our way. Hopefully we don't die. Okay. Here we see another Oni thwomp. So let's see if we can just squeeze by this guy. There we go. Jump up. Up we go. There we go. We got a nice shortcut there. Continue on our way. Jump up here. Boing. 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 Alright. So you can kind of continue enjoying some of the Japanese-esque roofs and whatnot over here. Here we have more banners with Bowser and longevity kanji. Now we have another gate, and this gate has two kanji, and the first one is the kanji for sky, or empty, or void, vacuum, just kind of empty space kind of kanji. And so that can be read sora, or the onyomi is ku, and then the bottom kanji is the kanji meaning hegemony, supremacy, leadership, champion. So you've kind of got these kanji that are the champion of the sky, or supremacy of the sky, which is rather fitting for this whole game, since Bowser goes around on a flying ship and you're going around in a flying hat. So he's kind of telling you here with these kanji that he is the dominant air force. So he will destroy you. And so as you can see, these same kanji are on all of these lanterns as well. Though they're jumping around a ton, so it's hard to read unless you throw your hat at them, which I don't recommend throwing anything at lanterns when you see them in Japan. But these are some lanterns that you will... Some are long, like the ones you see here. Some are kind of short, more rounded. And funny story about lanterns. A couple weeks ago, I went and saw, I think it was the Spring Festival in Gujo. And we basically walked along through the city with people carrying these lanterns and people dressed up as other things. And so we go along and we end up eventually at a shrine where we saw, oops, I did not want to do that. So we end up in this shrine where some more dancing and stuff happened. But the funny story is when some of these lanterns, they have real flames in them. Other people use like fake candles to light them up because it's safer. But we had maybe 3 or 4 lanterns just light on fire, and they had to put out the fire really quick, and it was kind of funny. It wasn't super dangerous because they were so little, but it was interesting to see that happen because it's something you don't really you kind of expect it when you know the lanterns are made of paper. You're like, why don't they burst into flames? But then after seeing so many of them not burst into flames, it's kind of unexpected when it happens. So that was fun. And now we get a good look at Bowser's Fortress. And so the bottom kanji you can see, those are longevity. The upper kanji are written very cursively. And it looks like it could possibly be a cursive version of longevity. I'm not sure. I'm not super good at reading cursive kanji right now. But the cursive kanji is why it's important to know the stroke order. Because if you know the stroke order of the kanji, then the cursive is a lot more readable. It's still difficult to read, but once you kind of see them enough, you can come to read them. I obviously haven't seen this one to be confident in being able to say what it is. I think it looks similar enough to the longevity kanji that I think that might be what it is. I am not sure, though. Okay, so let's move forward. So this building's roof is done much in a very similar style to the big temples you will see around Japan. So naturally you got the wavy roof, and then you have these little seal looking things. Again, I don't know what the good word is, but here we have Bowser's face in this big golden thing. Usually they are not bursting flames from the corners, but there are usually some kind of animals here on the ends, or on the corners. And as you can see, these horns at the top, they are very similar to the Japanese decorations on the top of many of these buildings. Okay. So now let's slingshot over to Bowser's Battleground. And as you can see here, right, sitting here on some of the cushions, we have a couple salarymen. Just a salaryman and a salarywoman waiting for their taxi because they are very busy. And yes, they are very busy. Alright. So, anything else worth pointing out here? Unfortunately, there aren't any. There are not a large variety of bad guys right now, especially after the game was beat. So there's not much to point out there. But naturally, this being the Japanese themed level, there are lots of Japanese similarities to point out, especially along the cultural, traditional style kind of things. But still, in modern Japan, like in my city especially, you'll still see these wavy roofs everywhere. So that's probably one of my favorite, like, mundane things about living in Japan are these wavy roofs. They just feel very Japanese, and it makes you feel like you're in this new world, because you kind of are. Alright, so I think that about wraps things up for this video. I think extending this video any longer would just be me stalling for time or something. But I think we covered a lot of good things here. We got the roofs, the shrine gates, shrine or temple gates. You have the kanji for longevity. You have the name of the fortress right up there on top of the gate, which is generally where they put the name of temples and shrines and whatnot. And this area's name is Supremacy of the Air. And if I were to try to read those kanji, I would probably guess it to be something like maybe Soraha or Soha or Kuha. I don't know. It probably uses the kunyomi, so I would think the first one is So or Sora, and the second one maybe Ha. But who knows? In names, sometimes the kanji have completely different readings than you're used to, so it's hard to read. Anyways, we got fans, we got traditional clothing with, falling off the stairs, with the kanji on Mario's back that means fortune or good luck. And yeah, so that was just a brief recap, sorry. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to like, subscribe. I usually do these live streams every month. I've wanted to do them regularly on the third weekend of every month, but something always comes up, and so it's been the fourth weekend each time. So maybe next month we will finally get it on the third weekend. We'll see. But follow my channel, subscribe so I can keep you posted. You can follow me on Facebook as well. That's where I post a lot of my updates on the channel and everything else. So keep an eye on that as well. So, once again, like and subscribe. Thanks for joining me in this live stream, or thanks for joining later on in the future for those who were unable to make it. And I will see you next time.